Hi everyone, it's Carol Keller, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Antioch, Illinois in the United States, and I'm coming to you today with the first of two projects for my Suite of the Month. What is Suite of the Month? Well, every month I feature a different suite and I make available two projects on either Facebook or my YouTube channel. Well, definitely on my YouTube channel, sometimes on Facebook too. And how it works is if you purchase the suite from me by the end of the month, or even if you've purchased it from me in the past, I will send you the components to make both of the projects. So if you are interested, please follow up with me. But I'm really excited for this suite. We are using the Harvest Meadow suite, and I have come to love it because there are just so many possibilities. So lots of possibilities with this suite, and so I'm excited to share it with you. I'm going to turn my camera around so that we can get started. Here we go. Let me show you first, of course, the project for today. I made this card, and I got the idea for it somewhere in the catalog. See if you can figure out where. And of course, as usual, I changed it up, but that was the basis. It's similar to what I saw in the catalog. So I'm going to put that aside and show you how I did it. Or first, I'm going to show you the components that I used from the suite. So the first thing I used was the Nature's Harvest stamp set. And we will also be using the Harvest dies. These are fantastic. And I always now like to cut out each of the components so that I can see if it cuts out a stamped image, I stamp it and then cut it out. And there's some more on the back, just so that I know what I'm working with in each die set. I found that that makes it much easier. And today we are also using the gorgeous Designer Series paper that comes in the suite, which is called Harvest Meadow. So let me show that to you. Subtle, just pretty colors, and then some coordinating colors on the back, which we'll be using some from both sides today. There are other components in the suite that we won't be using, but we will be using some of them the next time. There's a beautiful 3D embossing folder called Time Worn Type, and this cork 12 by 12 specialty paper that I've heard so many good things about, and I will be getting my hands on that very soon and using that. And then we are using actually the brushed metallic adhesive-backed dots, and the other component in the suite is the diamond weave ribbon. So let's get started with the card. I am starting with a Misty Moonlight card base, and then I'm just going to burnish with my bone folder. And then I've already cut the Designer Series paper. So these are the Designer Series papers. Make sure they're right side up. This one is 3 inches by 4.5 inches, or if you're working with an A4 card, 7.5 centimeters by 13 centimeters. This one is 2 inches by 5 inches, or 6 centimeters by 11.5. And last but not least, 1 inch by 5.5 inches, or 2.5 centimeters by 10.5. And so we're going to lay those on there right away. Excuse me, I'm just going to use my Stampin' Seal. And then for this one, to make sure I lay it in the right place, I'm going to put the adhesive on the back, but I'm going to use that other Designer Series paper piece to make sure it is where I want it, because I want it to overlap a little bit, about like that. So I think that is about in a good spot. Again, make sure it's straight. That looks pretty good. And then last but not least, all right, so excuse me, we've got our base, and now we're going to do some stamping. So I'm bringing in a scrap and one of the stamps from the set and my Blushing Bride. The one that I saw in the catalog used Calypso Coral, and I decided I wanted to see what Blushing Bride would look like. And now for a stamp that's a little bit bigger, it's easier to take the ink pad to the stamp. The other good reason for doing this is I find that a lot of people really push their stamps very hard into the ink pad, and then you get ink, stray ink all over, and it gets on your project. If you do it this way, you sort of are forced to use a lighter touch. You still get good coverage on the stamp, but you don't get that stray ink, and then it stamps very well. I think I'm going to do it this way, trying to make best use of my cardstock. And we'll set that aside. And now I'm going to bring in another scrap, and I have this flower stamp from the set. Let's get that ink out of the way. And now I've got soft succulent, and we're going to stamp this one a few times because we're going to stamp one to cut out again that goes on the front. Put that aside, but I'm also going to bring in, for the inside, I'm using, instead of a white layer, because this is very dark, so it's harder to see the writing. So oftentimes I'll put a basic white layer inside. Instead, I'm using Blushing Bride. I wanted to make it a little bit softer and not so harsh. So this is 4 inches by 5 1/4, or if you're using metric, it is 10 centimeters by, I believe, 14.4. And so we're going to take that and re-ink it with the soft succulent again, that little bouquet, and we'll put it right in the corner. And I'm also going to grab the envelope and do the same thing on the front side of the outside of the envelope. And we are done with our soft succulent. And last but not least, I'm going to bring in Misty Moonlight. I'm going to move that envelope out of the way. And we're going to use this for the sentiments on the front and on the inside. And this one is going to go on the inside. Oh, got a little spot with no ink. Yeah, that's better. This one says, "A reminder to never forget how much you mean to me and so many others." And then while we've got this ink, we are going to bring in a scrap of Bumblebee and use the Misty Moonlight again for the sentiment on the front, which says, "Sending healing thoughts. May nature's beauty bring peace to your soul." Aren't those just pretty sentiments? They show a lot of caring, I think. I like those. Okay, so now this is going to be cut out by one of the dies in the set. And all you have to do, let me grab it so I can show you. So we're using the long label, and all you're going to do is lay it over so that it's centered on both sides and top and bottom, and then cut that out. And then this we're going to keep, and then both of these are cut out again with dies from the set. And of course I already have cut all of those out. So here they are. And then the other thing I did was cut out this flower or whatever. I don't think it's necessarily a flower, but I cut this out. This isn't Bumblebee because this is going to go on the front too. And I put an adhesive sheet on the back before I ran it through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine so that it would make it easier to stick it down. But I think first we'll put the inside on the card since we are finished with that. So there's our inside. And so outside we're going to start with this one. So we are going to take this, I'm looking to see, there is a spot to start peeling off the backing. And you have to be a little bit careful because it's pretty delicate. But I'm just peeling it away so that all that's left is what's going to go on the card front. It's just a little more paper. And it wants to separate, but when you lay it down, if you sort of start from the center, and it is going to go pretty much in the center of that first piece of designer series paper. So see how it's wanting to separate because it's sticky and it's coming with my finger. If I just start laying it down from the center, pressing it, and we'll clip that bottom a little bit. Or actually, you know what? Maybe I can move it up. I think there should be enough give. With the adhesive, I can move it up a little bit. Yeah. So again, if I just start from the center, that seemed to be the easiest way. And just press it down. That's all I'm doing. And then following this down a little bit. And I'm going to move them a little bit closer together. And then laying it there. And then you want to give it a good burnish with your hands so that that adhesive clings. And then for the other two pieces, I am using dimensionals, both the regular and the minis. So we will start with this one, the bigger one. So I'm using the larger dimensionals on the larger sections. So the two flower heads at the top, and then the smaller ones on the smallest flower top and toward the bottom. Because we want to make sure that it sticks. Take the backings off. So we need some flowers to brighten things up on this gloomy day. All right, so we're just going to lay this one down. And we're going to do the same thing with the smaller one. And then I think we'll put this about here, and I'm not going to lay it down. I'm not going to press it down until I see where the sentiment's going to go. Yeah, I think that'll be good. Okay. So now for the sentiment, it's laying here where there are already dimensionals. So all I did was put a dimensional at each end. A mini dimensional, actually. And I think I may put a couple of glue dots in the middle, just to make sure that then it adheres to the rest, just to make it a little bit stronger. And so I'm just going to lay this across the front so that those glue dots will pick up, hopefully, the, whoops, take off the backings from the dimensionals first. That generally helps. So the glue dots are going to lay against the pieces that I already cut out, and then the dimensionals on each end. And then, of course, finishing touch, we need some bling. So I'm going to bring in these beautiful brushed metallic adhesive dots. And I had trouble deciding when I was designing the card which ones I wanted to use, which color. So I used the copper ones, but I think we're going to try the brass today. I want to see how that coordinates. And you can let me know in the comments which one you prefer, the copper or the brass. And we'll put a larger one up here. Whoops. Maybe on the white here. And that's it. That is a quick one, right? Quick and easy card, but I think so pretty. I really like the color palette. And I was just happy with the result. Like I said, I like the way the Blushing Bride coordinated with the rest of the colors. And I hope you do too. So again, that's the card for today. Our first card in the suite of the month, Harvest Meadow. So again, if you're interested in ordering that suite, reach out to me and let me know. I have a host code if your order is less than $150. If it's more than $150, take those host rewards for yourself. You deserve them. And that's it. Like I said, let me know in the comments which adhesive-backed dots you prefer. Each give them a little bit of a different look. This more subtle and this adds a little more sparkle. And thanks for joining me. I hope to see you again soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.